It's been a while.
Yeah.
My name's Nick.
And I'm fine.
It's a hard traveling hero.
Hard traveling heroes. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, man. And Nick's now coming to you from the Nick's sewer layer.
The sewer layer. We're changing it up a little bit. We're in the process. I'm going to change the studio around a little bit to actually so you can see more of what's behind me, which may or may not be a good thing. But welcome to Escape with Nick and Adam. We are once again joined by our friends from Night of the Chihuahuas. Nate.
What's going on, fellas?
Not feeling great. And also Josh, welcome back, sir.
Nate not feeling great.
Nate not feeling great, and Josh just chilling in the corner. It's fine.
Actually, my name in the caption is phonetically spelled.
Well, I'll tell you what, that Naderade, that's not a bad idea, though, Mr. Naderade, to keep your fluids up, man.
Well, yes, and also, Nate, when you emailed edit yourself as Naderade, I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard today. So I was like, that made me laugh. So I was like, Naderade. I was like, so is that one of those, like, I call myself that, or is that like just one of those nicknames you picked up somewhere along the way?
I have many nicknames.
Yeah,
that was one along the way.
Yeah, as it turns out, lots of things rhyme with Nick. Who knew? And not all positive. So whatever, it's fine. So yeah, I have quite a few nicknames that rhyme with my name, and some that are just things that happened in my life that I wish didn't, but here we are. So let's get to it, guys. You have another Kickstarter going for issue number 4 of Night of the Chihuahuas. Congratulations, because it's already funded. But as Nate was saying, it's like we could use some more. You know, it's like saying, yeah, my bills are paid, but just a little bit more breathing room would help out. You know, to get because we're doing 5 issues of Night of Chihuahuas, so that'll help get you there. But also just a little bit more breathing room always helps. So.
Yeah, it's like you said, you pay your bills, but you still need to eat. You still need, you might want to put some gas in the car.
Take the wife out.
Yeah,
it's a popsicle. Maybe a Happy Meal. Who knows?
Yes. So we were taught to keep our goal low so that we could take the money home. But I mean, you've got to pay Kickstarter, you got to pay printing costs. So I mean, we're maybe a little less than halfway through, and there is kind of a slump from what I remember. And this campaign, we are getting help from some people that have had very successful campaigns, so it's encouraging. But it's at the same time, it's still kind of that, I don't know, the worrisome part where are we gonna make a decent amount or whatever? So,
well, I know the last one, you guys really kicked ass with the last one. I think you guys win, like 300%?
Yeah,
you guys did great on that one. So, we're already at 150, 160. So, we're into the stretch goals. Why don't you talk about what some of the stretch goals are for?
So we have some exclusive prints that are black, white, and blood. There'll be covers for a limited series, black, white, and blood. Most of the images will be kind of what looks like a film negative with blood on the cover, and then panels inside of the book will have splashes of blood where there is blood. So there are some of those. There's some stickers, and then we're going to have some trading cards. And I feel like I wish I could give more amazing stretch goals, but we're trying to keep it wise and like everything can fit into a Gemini mailer and be shipped out all together. So, posters would probably be impractical. But can you go up for a second?
Yeah.
Right there. So right there are three offerings, 3 covers. In the middle is original artwork by Eric Ruiz. Eric Ruiz did the interiors. Once again, I have to hats off to Josh. Josh was the kind of the deciding factor to go ahead with Eric. And Eric has been amazing. I've said it several times. Eric really killed the interiors, and that's his first cover right there in the middle with the blue. On the left is The Last of Us. had monsters called clickers, and this was kind of an idea that was meant to be fun. Jay Photos is the artist. I think he did an amazing job. I don't know what you guys think.
He crushed the Last of Us look for sure.
Yeah. I took him a sketch cover and I was like, hey, can you draw like a Last of Us dog on there? And he asked for a reference. I showed him and he whipped it up real quick, and I went back and got it, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, that would have been really cool, like if we could have put more time into it. And I understand as an artist, he's not going to spend, 4 hours on a quick sketch cover. But I saw him later, and I'm like, man, like that'd be really cool if we could do it like super good. And he's like, yeah, I like that. He said that would be fun. And like, to me, that was like this like moment where it's like, yeah, I want people to have fun when they work on this stuff. So Jay killed it on that, and he's been super supportive. His Kickstarter just cleared like $25,000, and he's also an instructor, and he's been kind of feeding me information, teaching. He teaches on comic book classes at a community college. And then on the far right is we call it the 7 C's. There is a reference there if you can't get it. That's by an artist, Leon LeClaire. This was kind of a surprise. Rob Dieterle from Aquatus Comics, he commissioned this, or worked it out with Leon, and I didn't find out about this cover until the day before it came to me. And just surprised. We spent time kind of deliberating because some of our homages have gotten really borderline with creative license. I don't know what the right way to say it, but we're doing that one in a very limited capacity. So
I believe the correct term is homages, right?
Yeah, did I say right? But it is parody, so I think there's some room. But this will be only on Kickstarter, the 7 C's covers. So
I got a little quick peek at some of the interiors, and then let's get down to our stretch goals. So like I said, the first one, you got black, white, and blood. Chihuahua. Yeah, it took me. I was like, is that a Chihuahua? No, it's a Chihuahua. Okay, got it. Chihuahua small stickers, mass pupper, beefy sticker, and black, white, red. So hopefully we get to the number 5, and then anything beyond is clearly very excited. But so sauce. Okay, so all right, so here we go. So here's actual pictures of our stretch goals, and that's a 6.5 by 10 print. So that's a little bit smaller than your cover, than a comic book cover. But I don't know. I think that the Chihuahuas concept is like still my favorite thing. So I love that.
I think it's our best selling. When we put all the numbers in, it's our best selling.
So then we have the Johnny and Erica trading cards, the Leon Samantha trading cards. I love that concept. That's a lot of fun. And my selection here, I got the blank cover, and I'm really hoping for whoever wants to do it. I want a Johnny cover. I'm just gonna throw it out there right now.
And Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny's my favorite character. So
all right.
I love especially the art in the new one here. Just the way that they do his mustache, I was like, that's great. I love it. That's so fun.
Josh knows the guy that can do the cover for you.
Nice. Josh seems to know lots of guys. Josh seems to be the guy who knows people.
I think it's the people that know Josh is the real trick.
And totally in a good way, not in a shady way.
Not in the back alley.
Yeah, not it's funny because when Josh showed up, he's all like got his hat down. It's like, where are you? Are you in an alley? Turn a light on.
Yeah, hell lights on over here. It's
like California. There's rolling blackouts. Who knows?
Yep.
So, but one thing we can talk about, it's been a while since we've been able to get a show on, but also since you guys have been on, I don't think we've even talked about Free Comic Book Day.
Right.
Ooh.
I think because we helped out with that as much as we could, and I think as far as Adam's eyes turn out like that, we did. I thought it went pretty damn well in
You
Michigan
guys-
here. And
you
how did
guys
you
are-
guys do over on your end?
I
Did
didn't do
okay.
anything.
If Josh said that we should have an award for
Okay.
whoever does the most sales on those things, and you guys would have the award this year. So
Knew it. Not saying Michigan's better than anywhere else, but I'm just
How did
saying.
you guys like it? How did you guys like interacting with people, and what was your like thoughts?
It
about
was amazing.
Oh, it's
I enjoyed
terrifying.
it.
I hate it.
but it's kind of exciting at the same time, right?
But it's also one of those things I'm good at it, and I hate. There's things that I hate that I'm good at, but I just have to like. All right, hey you random. You like comic books? Hey you.
And I love that you guys had the cable strap
There was this one funny
holding
story.
everything down.
It was because it was an odd, windy day, and I'm like, dude, like the comics. Because Adam, when I got there late, and Adam had like a little easel set up and everything. It looked great, but then like a wind came by and just knocked everything down. I'm like, what do we got? And it's like, I got it. I got a strap. I got this ratchet strap, and
That's
it worked
how
out
we roll.
perfectly for us. So
That's what
Yeah,
that
it
provides.
did. It was a great idea.
What
So
was the
Mom-
story?
It was a great idea.
They wound up
Oh,
raining.
the story. There's who?
It froze up.
Brandon Routh?
why is Superman here?
I don't know. Josh said something about Brandon Routh.
No.
But
I was saying it started raining here, so a lot of people didn't come out. It was raining pretty good.
Oh,
I honestly, it's my first time really going out for like a free comic book day. I was shocked at the traffic, and people are like, "Well, we're hitting up all the comic books, getting all the free comic books." I was like, "All right, you cheapskate, but whatever, that's fine." But it's mainly meant to get the kids out and the kids involved. And I was actually really happy to end up talking to some of the parents, and they're like, "We're totally coming back next year." We're like, "That's got them, come on." Like I said, it's one of the reasons we love doing this with you is because I think comic books are awesome. It's an awesome medium, and it's one of those that, let's be honest, the big boys aren't doing what I feel they should be doing, which is just making cool comic books, and that's what you guys are doing. And it's so funny just to, you get someone to come over the table and be like, "All right, what's your pitch?" I was like, "Here's a pitch. Mutated Chihuahuas take over a small town." And it was one of those, either they laughed or they're like, but it's fine for the people who got it. They just started like laughing immediately. So, or you said the people who's like, "I have Chihuahuas and you are correct." It's like they're terrible. I was like, they are. So buy a comic book. It's like, all right.
I kind of want a Chihuahua now someday.
Oh, God.
I said I'd never get a
You're on,
dog, but if
They're like stray cats.
What was
they're feral, huh?
what was your story? I want to hear the story.
Oh no! So we got to talk to a lot of people, and then some people who had their tables there, artists and things like that. They were just really, really solid people to talk to. You had good conversation, and then this fella came up, and he almost reminded me like of a character that Tracy Morgan played on Saturday Night Live called Brian Fellows, and this guy. At first sounded like, super, super intelligent. And then then he was just going off on this trail each time to nowhere. And then he brought up he got woke on Nick real quick. And Nick was talking back and forth. And he started
smacked
talking
his ass down.
he started talking about there's no representation in anything. And all of a sudden it was like watching fake Clark Kent turn into Bizarro, his face started to crack and he was like this. And Nick and I have both had this conversation for ever. Comic books aren't the ones to pick on. They've had everybody in them, and that's one of the most beautiful things about them. But that just I was laughing on the inside so hard, and then I don't know what happened to the guy after that. He walked away and passed on a business card. Nice guy, really nice guy.
Yeah,
but he talked at great lengths whether you wanted him to or not.
Yeah, it was seriously like a 20-minute conversation. And then he started getting into the whole representation thing of Star Wars. I was like, all right, hold on. everybody knows who the coolest mofo in the galaxy was, and it was Lando Calrissian, and it ain't even close. So like everybody knows who the coolest dude was. So like it was funny. It was a good conversation, but it's so nice to just have nerdy debates. Like it's just and it's just so nice to be like, I think you're wrong, and here's my list of opinions, and you think you're right, and here's your list of opinions. It's like it's fine.
We have an outlet for you finally.
Yes, yeah. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
what do you know? And well, that's a shame. Like we've been doing this now for over a year, and Adam, I just kind of end up yelling at each other, and then finally it's nice to be like, get all pent up and actually get to go yell at other people who have dumb opinions.
Yeah.
A nerd off.
But it was great. It was just, and it was weird because we kind of got stuck outside, which you wouldn't think would be kind of advantageous because all the other creators were inside. But I think a lot of the creators, when they would come out and take smoke breaks, I think they were kind of jealous. I think we were getting pretty good traffic on because we were because we were forced to kind of interact where they were all just kind of sitting like in the AC, and I'm sitting here like no sunscreen because I didn't think we were outside all day, but it was fun.
I felt, oh man, I'm gonna sound like such a total creeper, but it's a horror comic. I felt like Dracula, where he first sees Mina in the streets, and he's like, "See me," and everybody's walking into the comic store, and I'm looking at them like, "Got your horror comics over here," And then they would come over, and Nick would start talking to him. I don't know, we just had fun with it, man.
Yeah,
just had fun with it. It was a blast.
You guys had like
So
1,000 more percent. Yeah, thank you. You guys had like 1,000 more percent enthusiasm. I was talking to you on the phone, Adam, and I could hear Nick in the background. We've got a horror comedy. You guys like horror comics? I was like, man, I wish I had that level of enthusiasm. I'm just tired. I'm like, killer chihuahuas, some.
It was just like because
we work too much. No one lets us out.
Well, it was just one of those. We were getting such a good response because, like I said, I kind of had a spiel, and either people were like, "Yes," and other people were like, because it was like, "Hey, do you like horror?" They're like, "No." I was like, "Hey, do you like supporting indie comics or indie creators?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Gotcha. All right, let's go." But
got to figure out what lure to use.
Yeah, I only had the two. Besides, because everybody knows like this is not the lure right here, so I gotta use the word. But it was not like I said. Once you kind of real quick, what's your spiel? You got like 5 seconds, people's attention. I'm like, here's my spiel, 5 seconds, and people are like, got it or they didn't. And if they didn't, I was like, cool, have fun inside. If not, we'll be, you want to keep talking. Hey, you want to, shoot the breeze about whatever. But also the nice thing is, just your guys' covers were getting so much. Like there's,
man,
there was so many people are like, dude, I'm a Godzilla fan. I need that cover. It's like, oh, I love, the Jaws thing. That's cool. But also, it's funny because the guy we end up having a 20-minute conversation with, he's like, Shining, Jaws, Godzilla. And he's just like he got all the references.
Yeah. It was like Sheldon. He was a lot like Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory.
Well, it was weird because he's a creator himself. He actually came up to us with like a portfolio of stuff, and he's like, "Well, this I'm thinking of a cover," and he's like, "I want to try to speak." I was like, "I like this. I don't like the font. I like that font. I like that logo." He's like, "Okay." I'm just like,
"Yeah."
I've been talking to enough people today. I'm through. Just like, hey, yes, bad, good, thank you. Lando Calrissian's
There was
man,
one little kid.
It.
Remember that one little kid though that came up, and you could tell he was a horror fan. He walked up, he looked at the covers, he's like, "Okay, that book is about The Shining with the Chihuahuas, and that book is about Jaws if Jaws was a Chihuahua, and that book." And I'm like, "That's Biggie Smalls," and he's like, "Cool."
That's right. It's like I don't recognize that. I was like, "Oh, go talk to your parents about Biggie Smalls. It's fine."
Go talk to your
That was
parents.
cool.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you guys.
Because we did have to be like, hey, little kids, where are your mom and dad?
Yeah.
I was giving away the Batman comics though for those little.
Yeah, and that was another great thing. Adam brought some of his own comics to give away to little kids, and it was so appreciative. The only thing I could say was like, look at the cover price, because these comics are 20 years old.
Yeah.
And then when you
30,
go inside,
30.
Oh yeah. All right. Trying to not make ourselves sound old, but
I'm just saying they were 30.
Well, they were the original Batman the animated series, some of them, and then some,
Wow.
90s
Yeah.
Robin stuff. Which it's unfortunate that like Adam's like, yeah, we'll just give these away because I'm sure when we were buying them 30 years ago, like these are totally be worth the money. And Adam's like, take them, get them away from me.
The only one out of that set that was worth the money I already sold. It was the first appearance of Harley Quinn. And
Right.
It paid my rent for that month. So yeah.
Speaking of which, did you guys get an email?
Oh, hold on.
We did. Nick, how can we broadcast this?
Oh, I don't
You're
know.
in master control.
All right, let's see here. So
this is an exclusive.
I'll figure this out.
Escape podcast exclusive first look.
La, 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 la. If you guys want to talk for a second until I figure this out.
Hi, how about them Yankees?
Shut your mouth. Okay.
You don't like the Yankees, Nick?
Oh. Where do I live?
You live in Detroit, but I mean,
Yeah,
I didn't
which
know you were a
means
big baseball
Yankees
fan.
suck ass. So
I never knew you to like baseball. That's all.
you didn't like sports in general. Even
No,
though you
I'm
played
not.
football.
I'm not making fun of you or anything.
No.
I just never heard you. Hockey, we watched hockey. We watched football. We never watched baseball. That's all.
Oh,
It was,
and okay, in all fairness,
it was the 90s, so we watched a little bit of soccer.
right. So we hated the Red Wings for a hot second because we worked at Little Caesars, and every time there's a Red Wings playoff game, which seemed like every day, we were incredibly busy, and I hated our lives. So
every day,
it's I seem like every damn day where I'm like I was like it sucks because I love the Red Wings. I want to do well. I was like, I tons of bitches right now.
Are you coming over for Christmas Eve? I can't. The Red Wings are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. Remember the now we're getting what was the captain's meal? It was a Steve Eiserman.
Dude, there was so many damn things.
Two large pizzas in a bag, a stupid Terry, like one of those. They might as well have put it in wrapping paper. I hated that shit. And you gave the customer cupcakes and 2 liters or something like that.
It was like a party.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad deal. I think it was only $10 too back then.
All right. So, yeah, keep talking because I'm still trying to.
Okay.
I came across those Steve Eiserman figures. I've got 2 of them, Nick.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they're in the basement here. They're in the basement here.
Josh, stay away from the porn.
Ouch.
Not on this computer. This computer is just phone.
I have a separate computer.
Just for porn.
Yes. This man is smart. He's educated. It's under an alias account. It's under my name, actually.
The Naderade.
Yeah, he uses Nate's sign-in, so.
Hey, Nate, I need your password.
Get that bill.
I need your password again. Oh, that's good.
Holding off the magic sword. What's going on?
So I will plug us when we have a moment. I'll plug us. We have Phoenix Fan Fusion a week from today in Phoenix. Biggest con in the state. There we go. And people should come out. People should come out and support us and have a good time and see all of the interesting things.
Where's it at?
Phoenix Convention Center, downtown Phoenix. I think it's on 3rd Street. And it's a lot of fun. It's a little crowded for me, but it's we have the artist Sophia Cox, who is doing a cover with us. It's not completed yet, but she'll be at the table. And her thing this year, what she'll be doing, is a female superhero holding a killer Chihuahua. So that is the theme for this year. If you want a sketch cover done, and David and Sophia will be at the table pretty much the entire time. David Kiddos will be in 2 panels, one about horror comics and one about writing your own stories. So Looking forward to that.
What dates
All
were
right.
those?
June 2nd through 4th. And David's panel is on Saturday afternoon. And the second one is on Sunday afternoon.
And where's the booth at?
Booth 1781. Wow, look at Josh on it. And my
Josh,
blood
like,
type, is AB positive.
Josh goes like checklist. All right, we got this. All right, boys. So, all right, are we ready for the exclusive here? So,
Yes.
Is this the artist?
No.
this is a
Oh.
cameo. Okay. All right, ready?
Can't hear it.
Do we not hear it?
No.
Hold
We need an intern, Nick.
on. Oh yeah. Duh. All right. So okay, maybe we can, because I can play it obviously, but I can hear it, which isn't helpful for everybody. Do. Yeah,
Playback board record, my man.
how dare you, sir?
Just trying to help.
How dare you go back to Specs Howard on me? So, all right, keep going on about something else. Give me a second.
I don't know what else.
So,
It's
who's
fun
the cosplayer in the playing Harley Quinn here?
So that's actually Margot Robbie. We know her.
Oh, is that all?
She
Oh,
has a crush
okay.
on crush on Josh, and
Well, who doesn't?
I don't like you, Josh. Not anymore. No, she's
So
totally pretty.
she is not a cosplayer per se that I know of. I don't know. She's here. Can we see? Does it work?
Barbie. Look.
Did it take you to a?
Oh, it's just a commercial or something beforehand?
No. Was it a video link? I could try to play it just off my phone
Yeah, I might have to try.
if you want me to. Try that?
Yeah.
Oh, no, me.
Yeah, and I'll turn it up on your end. No.
Okay. Hold on. I gotta.
Hey guys, now you all know me, but did you know about Night of the Chihuahuas? I love this comic book, so jump on board now for a wild ride. Come one, come all to the greatest show on earth. And P.S. Josh, he's just the best.
Oh, yeah.
If Josh had better lighting, we could see him get a little bit red. So
That's why I turned down his lights today. So that is not a cosplay. Maybe she does. She's a celebrity lookalike. She
Okay.
looks like Margot Robbie. There was a post on Instagram where she was dressed up like Harley Quinn, and it said this thing called Cameo. Have you guys heard of Cameo?
yes.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. So I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I started going through, there's Billy D. Williams, there's Katie Sackhoff, there's like, there's Dolph Lundgren.
How
Like,
much is Katie Sackhoff? Katie Sackhoff's probably.
but it depends on what you want. So I went through like a crackhead, and I'm like looking at page after page, screenshotting, circling, like, and this is late at night, like one of those things where you're like, oh, just one more page,
Yeah,
and then like
late night impulse buys. And it's like, I can afford this.
So, but then I realized is like that there's a business one and then there's a happy birthday one. And I was looking at the happy birthday prices. So I contacted her, and I forget what the initial exchange was, but I was like, I don't think we can afford it at the business price. And she said, I'll hook you guys up. So we were able to do that for a reasonable price, probably about 70-something% cheaper.
Oh, nice.
And just a little bit of fun. Just, I don't know. I'm constantly trying to find ways to draw eyes to the Chihuahuas. And she's very nice. She lives in the UK. And Yeah, and now she's going to be Sue Storm, right?
What? Really?
Margot Robbie.
Oh,
Margot
okay.
Robbie. Yeah.
Are
Oh,
you
yeah, not her.
serious? Wait,
Margot
are you
Robbie.
serious?
Margot Robbie?
Is that true?
You guys don't know that? Look it up. I'm scared. I might be wrong. If you
Yeah,
guys haven't heard of it, I don't know.
I don't know if
Adam
anything's,
You know
I'm
how
not
like
Adam-
sure if anything's been
actors?
announced officially.
Adam Driver and Margot Robbie, and I thought they pulled 3 people for
think-
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I think that was rumored. I'm not sure if that's been
Oh, okay.
as far as Fantastic, because I haven't heard anything as confirmed.
I hope
from
it's true.
Fantastic Four. No, I think she'd be one of the near the top list. The only thing, unfortunately, I don't think she would do it just because I don't think she wants to get pigeonholed as the comic book hot girl or whatever. So
That's actually Adam.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's already one. Thank you very much. So, but I can tell you about my Comic Con experience. So, went to
Paul
the-
Stanley.
So went to the Motor City Comic Con last Saturday. We got our pictures taken with Brent Spiner, aka Data, and Jonathan Franks, aka William and T. Riker. So a little unfortunate because they did do the plexiglass, which I did not realize until that morning. But it was a good experience, and they always just the assembly line nature of that entire process. It astounds me how it just it is just like an assembly line, and because by the time you get your picture taken and you walk over here, like it's spitting out your 8x10 and it's ready to go. It's like less than a minute. It's absurd, and
Wow.
it amazes me how quickly they just get that whole process done.
Yeah.
But also
would
it's
want-
like, but also like you get all of like 8 seconds to somewhat interact with the people, because it's like, oh hey, next. So
You're right.
I would want to sit in his lap like Data Claus. I mean, Santa Claus, Data Claus.
it was a shame because I went with my wife. My wife absolutely loves Brent Spiner, like absolute like favorite, besides Shatner. And they had the plexiglass, like they touched through the plexiglass. But that was kind of that was about all of the interaction. Like, because last year we went and saw like Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo straight up like dapped you up. You're like, oh, what's up? Hey, cool, what's up?
Mhm.
And then yeah, it's cool, but it's like it's hi, smile, get out. It's like, oh, okay. So
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
You're
right.
It's as fast as I said it. That's how fast the interaction is. Here,
When I
smile,
met
and
Alicia Silverstone, it was a little better.
yeah, and
It was the same thing. She was just warm. She was just a warm person.
right.
She was glad to see you. So she kind of made the experience. When I met Katie Cassidy, it was cooler meeting her standing in line. But when we did the photo, it was through the plexiglass. So it was like, yeah. And
And it's one of those shames where you're literally separated by that, but it's still enough to where it's like, yep, you're over there. I'm not really interacting with you.
Alicia Silverstone went to my high school.
really?
She was one or two grades below me.
Oh, so you
Okay.
actually went at the same time?
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
I said that had. When did she do the Aerosmith stuff? She was still in high school,
90s.
wasn't she?
So we went to San Mateo High School, in San Mateo on the peninsula in the Bay Area, and we had one of the only performing arts centers in a high school. So that's where a lot of people came. I think Mike Myers had went there way before I did. There's some famous people that came out of that school, as long as sports players. I was at her brother. Dave went to Burlingame High School, and I was more friends with him than he was in my grade. She was a couple years younger, but I interacted with her. I knew who she was. I mean, she probably doesn't know who I am now, but
Like, remember me, Josh from high school? No.
She has a Josh tattoo. She's like, I've always wanted to show you this.
Instead of the mom tattoo, it's Josh with the heart. A lot of those, I assume, in high school for Josh.
Yeah.
But because so you would have graduated
93.
93, and that's and those videos, Adam, came out what, 94, 95, somewhere around there.
Yeah,
When she
early high
really,
school.
so probably she was probably at least 18 for those.
That's really what
Actually-
made her career, I think, was those videos.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that put her on the map for sure.
Actually, now that you mention it, that album was out when I was in middle school. So, yeah, that's prior to our high school. Yeah,
Yeah, but by the time
because
they
living on the
did
edge.
video,
Yeah, living on the edge was like one of the first ones from that one, and then they started bringing her in after like Crazy and wow,
that's
30
crazy.
years.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for that little anecdote.
I
And
love aging. I think it's great.
I just dated myself.
40s. What are you gonna do?
Be cool. Be awesome.
As whatever. So we're not gonna get the young. We're not gonna get the teens in our demographic. I'm okay with that. But one of the night, so I had main two other things I wanted to do that I was able to get done. There is one of the booths I started frequenting is they sell old animation stuff. I was able to get some animation cells from the Ninja Turtles cartoon, and also I was able to go hit up one of the artists I really wanted to go see this year because he started doing turtle stuff. So funny story. So we went just random walking through Artist Alley, and we see this artist, and he's got the same name as our grandson. So we're speaking of
way.
dating ourselves. So we walk over like, hey buddy, just hey, funny story. You have the same name as our grandson. And we start like talking to him, and my wife collects one comic book, and that's the Star Trek Mirrorverse because she likes Star Trek. And it turns out this guy does the pencils for the one comic book that she collects. So we're like,
Wow.
hey, like get some. He's like, I'll sign, whatever, we'll buy some comic books, and he signed them for us. He was super nice. His name's Gavin Smith. Well, this year I was actually excited to see him because he started doing Turtles stuff. So he started doing covers for Turtles, and he's actually taken over for the ongoing Turtle series. I think issue 140 after Armageddon game wraps up here. So it's nice to go like, hey, like, cool, like, good for you, because it seems like everybody who goes and does Turtles, it's like they're a Turtle fan, so they're like super stoked to do it. And so he's been doing some covers. I picked up some prints and had him sign. Should have been better prepared. Should have grabbed some of the stuff, but I got 3 prints from him, and also one of the last Ronin Lost Years comic books that he did, and I was just like super stoked. I was like,
Nice.
finally, now he's doing my comic book. What are you gonna do? So I smack talk my wife a little bit, which is fun. But I can actually show you my turtle nerd.
Did anybody pick up the Star Trek 400? The IDW?
I did not, but so
It's pretty much sold out everywhere.
that print, he did that cover. That was a cover for
Badass.
one, and so that's one of the prints for it. So it's on the turtle wall. So that's pretty sweet. So Star Trek 400, no. When was that come out?
I think it came out like last week or the week before. And they were
Okay.
making a big deal out of it because it's like iconic, 400, and it had it had all the characters on the cover. There's a couple variants.
Yeah, that one I didn't see, but I know I read not recently, about a week or so ago, was the Batman 900. That was actually pretty interesting because they kind of did like a crazy multiverse thing where they had, current Batman, and they worked in 66 Batman, Michael Keaton Batman, animated Batman, like damn near all the Batmans that you could think of, except for maybe Adam. Adam knows way more Batmans than I do, but
There's only one Batman, and he's in the comic books.
He's
No,
in
I know what
Flash.
you mean.
He's in the new Flash.
oh yeah, we're getting there. Don't worry.
That movie looks very good.
So yeah, I say it. So we can get into it. So I know Chris Gore and a few other people, they've actually gone to a screening, not the final version of The Flash, and yeah, not so far. It's one of those. Obviously, Michael Keaton steals the shows. Like, what else would you expect?
Sure.
But my only problem is, well, no, it's like if you're gonna do a Flash movie, like you kind of have to let the Flash be in it, because once you start introducing either Batman, Superman, or Wonder Woman, it's like, well, mom and dad are here, like the adults are. Because
Yeah, but
even in the Justice League stuff, like everybody knows once Batman's in the room, like, okay, I'm no longer the biggest badass in the room. As soon as Batman enters the room, it's like the man's here.
you're 110% right. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm not even going to see the Flash movie. I'm going to see Batman 89 Part 3.
That's I said that's
the only fucking reason I'm going.
It pretty much turns into the Flash with the Flash starring
And
Batman.
I'm 100% okay with it because I don't like who they have playing the Flash anyway. I tried to get used to him, and then I couldn't, and then whatever his problems, but at the end of the day, I look at him like he just doesn't look like a guy's guy to me. He doesn't look like John Wesley Shipp, doesn't look like a Grant Gustin. He just kind of looks like a not the Flash.
And that's kind of the thing. Like if you are not a huge fan of Ezra Miller or Ezra Miller as the Flash, the first part of the movie is probably going to be a bit of a grind for you. And that's kind of what Chris Gore said when he was watching. He's like, yeah, if once you get past that, then hey, Michael Keaton, Batman, daddy's home, so
Yeah.
it's everything I heard. It's as soon as Michael Keaton gets on screen, it's like Batman movie from here on out.
Same director from It, Chapter 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Andy Muschietti.
Yeah, so,
Muschietti.
my wife loves it, so she's watched those things probably half.
Yeah.
So I think that's what, June 16th.
June 16th. So what do you want to say about this here movie here, Nick?
I will not. Just because of the whole Ezra Miller thing, I can't say like, yeah, go out and see it, because I won't. But if just because Ezra Miller just causes too much bullshit, and I think he should have been recast. But that being said, I hope it does well, because, well, I hope it does well, and I hope it does one thing exceptionally well, and I really hope it kind of puts it ties up, or at least leads into what James Gunn is planning on doing. Because there's nothing worse than, hey, here's this movie, and it doesn't continue on into anything.
Right.
Because everything coming down the pipe for DC going forward isn't, let's be honest, besides this, it doesn't look great. I mean, I really hope Blue Beetle's fun, and then Aquaman 2, I hear is an absolute train wreck. So.
I forgot about those. I forgot about Blue Beetle.
Well, that's it. I was like, honestly, it's one of those like, hey, we should probably just chop here and start anew, but I think they're just like, it's shot. We're going to release them, even though there's really no point. So,
yeah.
Nate had to step away for a minute just in case anybody's wondering what was going on. So, hey, he's back.
Hopefully, he's okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's there he is. So, Nate, we were just talking about the Flash for a few minutes. So, hearing some of the things that are coming out, we're trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible from what I hear. But are you going to go check out the Flash, Nate?
Yep.
Yep. So I think
for sure.
Are you okay, Nick? You feeling okay?
I was going to say it twice.
no, I'm not. He's gonna soldier on though.
Sorry, man.
But it's one of those. Yeah. Just the whole Ezra Miller thing puts me off. I don't like how they're doing it. It's kind of one of those. It reminds me like an old school Hollywood. We're just gonna spin until the movie comes out, and then we're gonna throw them in the trash because, well, we got to make money. So,
It sounds like Night of the Chihuahuas. Oh, we lost one artist. Oh, lost another one.
we're just gonna keep going here, boys. So.
We got a Margot Robbie lookalike.
Look me over here.
She's the new artist. Da, da, da.
But also,
I uploaded that video to my Facebook.
There you go.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I was gonna cut the end off of it so it doesn't have the thing, but it's fine. You can keep it up there. I'm gonna cut it off for ours because I just want people to question for a moment. But you know, at least Josh's niece thought it was real. I mean,
so, but also one of the things coming down the pipe is Dial of Destiny, the last, hopefully, God willing, the last of the Indiana Jones movies. It premiered in Cannes, and they, for some odd reason, they thought it was a good idea to, there's no embargo. Like whoever sees it can review it. And the rumors is it's boring, so boring that the French audience were murmuring in French and making fun of the movie. And it doesn't seem good, and it still has another 6 weeks before it comes out. So there's 6 weeks that it's basically take a beating from people because I don't. Why even make this movie? Why was this movie even made? It doesn't.
What movie are you talking about?
The Dial of Destiny, the last Indiana Jones movie.
Indiana Jones. I was like, are we still talking about the Flash?
Oh.
That's right. You did bring that up. Sorry about that, man. I heard that and I zoned out. I just put the video up on our Facebook page on the Escape with Nick and Adam too.
Actually, Harrison Ford died about 2 years ago, and they're just trying out this new technology.
See,
it would not surprise me.
Josh is like,
I guess now I'm
because
hearing
he was old 15 years ago when the Crystal Skull came out. Like,
well, I'm giving you this information secondhand. The source is Hollywood Babylon, but I guess he was in an interview and they said, what will you miss most about being Indiana Jones? And he's like, nothing.
No, dude, he's such a prick when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He does not. He's like, oh, he's going to come back for the fans. He don't care about the fans.
No,
I don't know if he's got gambling debts or maybe just all the medical stuff. He's like, what? If you give such a shit about these movies, why? For love of God, besides the paycheck.
He has high insurance premiums because he keeps crashing planes.
Yeah, because he keeps crashing his damn plane. But it's just like, because even like, remember they had those shirts where he's like, yeah, I was Indiana Jones and Han Solo, and I'm already effing over it. I was like, which is a shame because, there's been conversations of like what happened to the era or almost the category of movie stars, because Harrison Ford is being considered one of the last actual movie stars. And it's just like, if that's what a movie star is, like, man, I'm good. Like, if you just don't give a shit, like, if you don't give a shit, I don't give a shit. So,
did you guys hear that quote by Anthony Mackie that said movie stars are dead? It's more like people want to go see a character; they don't want to go see a movie star. So that was really
that's
poignant.
100% true. Because it used to be, hey, let's go see the next Arnold movie. Let's go see the next Sylvester Stallone movie. Let's go see, the next Bruce Willis movie. Like now it's just like, oh, I want to go see the next Thor movie. I want to go see the next, Batman movie. It's the era of the actual movie star. Yeah, it's that. And one of the things that helped kill it absolutely is social media, because you actually get to see who some of these people are. And like, no, thank you. Because everybody's got a camera attached to their hip now, which is one of the reasons. Hey, I'm not going to support anything that Ezra Miller's in. So,
Are you going to see the movie?
Yeah, of course. But
Well,
but I and I've said it before. I was like, I can't give it like a blessing. Like, yeah, go see it because I don't agree with him still being in this.
I think I
Nick's
have
pretty
a.
much like I'll go out with you when all people are not looking and we're not going to the dance together.
I think I have a compromise for you, Nick. Every time he's on screen, you have to like cover your eyes and then look up.
I'll just start chucking popcorn.
There you go.
I'll be in the
Popcorn
last
sounds
row
good.
too.
You're one of those guys, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Like, everybody's gonna enjoy my hatred. Everybody gets some.
Let's get some.
So let's see here. So we talked about that. We talked about that. So with the writer's strike going on, and Nate, we got to get David on. I know I was talking to David briefly about trying to get him on because I really want to get his take on the writer's strike and actually talk about that a little bit because it caused some of these strikes cause very interesting things, like just conflicts. And did you guys hear Will Wheaton going after Ken Jennings from Jeopardy over like the writing of like because what was her name? Mayim Bialik Blossom. She's siding with the writers and said she's not going to do the rest of the season of Jeopardy. And Ken Jennings like, well, I'll finish the season. And Bill Wheaton starts going, we won't forget this. You blah blah blah. Blah. He starts tearing in. I was tearing into Ken Jennings, and I'm like, that's who you're going to go after, Ken Jennings, like the most harmless person on the in entertainment. And it was just like, pretty much any time I get to play, this video, I'm okay with it. So,
But shut up, Wesley.
so it's just one of those. Damn it, Will Wheaton, like, just give me another reason to not like you, and he did it. And yeah, so
Shut up, Wesley.
just for fun,
But shut up, Wesley.
you get a double.
You get it.
But yeah, I'd really like to talk to David about the writer's strike. I think he'd have a really good insight as to because he's a writer, and I'm sure he probably knows some people who are being affected by this. But
yeah, he definitely does. So yeah, I think I mentioned to him to try to get on with you guys too.
yeah,
So,
like I said, I messaged, I shot him a date, and he's like, yeah, not this. He's like, I got these. I'm busy this time. I'm worried about this time. He's like, nope, not that day either. I was like, we'll figure it out. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Well, his kids just got out of like competitive league, and I know he's trying to keep up himself. That guy does a lot. He's a beast with output. He just always doing something.
Yeah, it's funny. I was talking to my brother earlier today, and he's just like, yeah, summer's here. And as it turns out, kids get into lots of things. He's like, my kid's got this camp. And he's like, I got this camp because, we got like a family thing that I'm trying to get scheduled. He's like, yeah, so my kid has this camp, this camp, this camp, this camp, this camp, and then this camp, this camp. That's like, dude, like, I was like, that's kind of one of the reasons I was kind of happy. My son was not super involved in sports. So I was like, I don't have time to take you all these camps, and I can't afford it. So
Yes, and the money part.
yes, because there used to be just, hey, here's Little League. Now it's travel ball, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that because I know one thing can't afford it. Two, I'll be the psycho parent. I just know I will. So
Yeah.
no thank you. So, but also in the news, unfortunate passing of two legends. Oh, one's a legend. One I just really liked. Legend passing of Tina Turner. Love Tina Turner. She was one of my mom's favorites, so I grew up listening to Tina Turner all the time. I think I was forced to try and do some of the dance steps that my mom wanted me to do, but never worked out. And then the one that really surprised me is passing of Ray Stevenson. And I love Ray Stevenson because he was in, I forgot how many things he was in that I really liked. Probably most recently, he was in RRR. He was going to be, I think, in the Acolyte Star Wars. I think that just wrapped fairly recently. But my favorite role he was in, he was Titus Polo in Rome on HBO.
It is a shame when you lose such great talent, don't you think?
Absolutely.
You know, it's hard to think that we live in a world now where there isn't Tina Turner. You know,
Yeah,
and
Tina
the fact
Turner,
that
and
she hasn't been like a household name in years either is it just brings back a lot of memories. That's all.
it was one of. It's kind of one of those. Kind of forgot she was live, but also like
It did.
I was in someone's home and they're like, "Hey, Tina Turner." I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that's oh man, you know. Kind
Yeah.
of one of those like when you heard Prince died, you're like, "Oh man."
Yeah, and if you think about it, with COVID and the situation of the country, things have gotten really weird since Prince died.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
and Prince was such a weird dude in general, and
so
somehow it's gotten weirder when he passed.
yeah. So I blame it on that.
I agree.
So,
All right. So anything else you fellas want to talk about here?
You want
it's
to
just
tell us
really
some
good to
thoughts?
see
is
all
open.
four of you.
You want to talk?
It's
Tell
good
us
to see
what
all
your
four of you. Three
thoughts
of
on
us.
issue 4.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. All right. So, Nate, is there any panel you want me to go to or stay away from? Because obviously we don't want
The last 3 pages would probably be best to stay away from.
Okay.
You mean this one right here?
I mean the entire comic book I have right in front of me that I'm gonna just slowly scroll through. This is how you know it's legit because there's a giant watermark over it. And it was funny
Hey,
because
sorry.
it's really funny because when I click the thing that says read aloud, I was like, oh, will it read the dialogue? No, it reads property at Pork Chop Express. It's like, oh. So this is a cover by
Eric
who was it?
Ruiz.
Eric. So fantastic cover. And I think this is probably my favorite of oh, here we go. So creator credit
Hey,
here.
it's our friends, the Escape podcast.
Those guys suck. So got writer David, cover artist Eric Ruiz, artist Eric Ruiz, and I'm not gonna lie, I think I like the just interiors of this comic the best. I think this is one of my favorite. Just like I said, our buddy Johnny here. So there's some really great art in here that I really like, and yeah, is that Kika? Kika back?
Oh yeah, she's mad at me. That's what she does. She just
It's like a relationship. He's like, yeah, she's pissed off. So.
she's just like, you're watching TV, so I'm gonna sit right in front of your eyes, And now she's mad because she can't hop up here. So she's funny though. Come on, Kika. Come on. Let's see if we can get her to join the show. Say hello to everybody.
Trying not to give away the whole thing here, so
There
we'll
she
try and keep it down to a few. So, anything you want to say about some of the process going to or?
I can't wait to read this.
It's really good. I really liked. I got a chance to read it for the show. So.
I think Josh is pleased.
Josh is pleased.
Well, just you go ahead, Josh. You
Yeah, I'm really happy with this because Eric really bridged all the other artists that we work with his own style and made it work. And I like the original artwork better than the homages. That's just me, But yeah, I'm really happy with this, and it's his first comic, and he's real excited about it. It gave me new energy in the project because after working with so many artists, and, ups and downs, and this guy's just on point every time, just on point. So I mean, I brought a new life to me, which is good because after a while you're just kind of
that's how it is with any creative process, where it's just like after a while you just keep seeing the same thing over and over, and you're like, oh. So it is nice to have that nice injection of some some new blood. We're like, yeah, okay, cool. Like,
And then I can't wait to let him loose on a whole other project, like, because right now he's trying to bridge gaps. I just want to see what he can do in his own. Just let him loose and let him do his own creativity. I can't wait to see that. I think this guy's going to be a great artist. I mean, if he decides to pursue comic books, I think he's really going to have a good career.
I didn't look at this panel that closely. What is at the bottom of the dog's legs at the
I'm
bottom?
not gonna lie, I kind of saw that myself, and I'm like, is that what I think it is? I'm like,
Red Rocket. Red Rocket.
Yeah.
Wow, Eric, you continue to surprise.
Yeah, I didn't pick this exact panel for any particular reason, so that's my bad.
When it comes out the black, white, and blood, you'll really be able to.
One thing I say about Eric, he's on time. He communicates, and he takes feedback really well, and like tries to. He's never like prima donna-ish. He just like talk about it. Okay, come back. And that's one thing I'm learning is it's hard is like you see something and I don't know the right words right away. And there's been Craig Rasmussen from Monkey Gong Productions has spent time kind of educating me, talking to me about, what looks good, what doesn't. And, it's the collaboration piece with Eric has been great because it's like, hey, there's too much light in this, like on the cover, where's your light source coming from? And he had highlights pretty much around the entire body. Well, there's not lights coming from everything. So once we figured it out, he took that cover in like a day and fixed it. And we were done. So it has been encouraging. And like Josh said, it's kind of breathed new life into the project. And Eric will start issue 5 on June 1st. And then 6 to 8 weeks we'll be completely done with the art portion. And we had this popular artist. I don't know how he's good. He's got over 10,000 followers. He liked some of our stuff, and I messaged him because we had tried to talk to him last year at Fun Fusion, and somebody called him and he got busy and he couldn't talk. And I said, hey, we talked to you last year, and I asked him if he would be open to doing a cover, and he said yes. And the other thing that was remarkably cool is like I'll try to work within your guys' price constraints because you're an indie. He usually gets 1,000 plus per cover. So although we have quite a bit of art, I don't know if you guys saw on our Kickstarter, one of the tiers was to have your dog drawn on the cover. And we had somebody purchase that one. So I think it's going to be kind of a great mesh. What the guy wants, who this artist is. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, getting back to the, taking criticism, and you gave the example of, hey, like, where's your lighting source? As I'm not I'm somewhat of a trained artist. I went to school for, but it's just stuff people recognize. Where you say, like I said, if there's an the halo around someone, you're like, well, where's that light coming from? Or like, are you standing in front of a car or something? Be like, well, no, most people are going to go like, hey, that shouldn't be that way, and it's kind of funny. I looked at this post today where this, is on Instagram. This guy's like, hey, I kind of made a detailed muscle structure of how Wolverine's claws would actually is his take on how the muscles work to make the claws work in Wolverine's arm. And it's kind of one of those, like, I took an anatomy and physiology class. I know how muscles work. They do one of two things. They either they either relax or they tense. And everybody who kind of looked at it went like, hey buddy, that's not how muscles work. It was kind of one of those, like, yeah, I know it's a thing, but it's like, hey, that's cool. But if you're gonna put this out on the internet for everybody to see. You might want to be like, hey, how do light sources work? Where,
Yeah.
like, you can't just put shade where there shouldn't be shade. You can't put light where there shouldn't be light. You can't
Yeah.
have muscles doing things that muscles aren't supposed to be doing. Just things like that. People do notice that stuff, and it is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, to Eric's credit, it's his that was his first cover. It's his first time really out into this arena, and um, I think with an attitude like that, you can receive feedback.
Oh,
He's just going to get that much better.
It's so incredibly crucial that you have someone who can say, "Hey, can you tweak this just a little bit?" and them not exploding you, because once again, I've dealt with plenty enough artists where, like, no, the art is perfect. You're what's wrong. It's like, it's kind of that, like, no, it's not perfect just because you did it. It can be improved. So, just it sounds like you guys have a good collaborator and a good collaborative process, like Josh was saying, where it's like it's nice to say, "Hey, can this be like this?" and not get blown up on. Or is there any other panels in particular that you want to show off by chance?
Nope.
I'm
Just wanted to
kinda
show it off.
I'm just
Hear what
kinda
you guys think,
scrolling
and
through, so like I said, I think
I'm
and
pumped. I can't wait to read this.
I'm excited, but also, so who's in charge of, like, where putting, like, word bubbles and all that go? Because I know there's a few spots where, and, this comes down to me just for the geeky part of, like, when you got so much dialogue and you're trying to get, because there's times where you're trying to make a joke, but how do you fit the joke into the actual panel? It's kind of tricky stuff like that. Is everybody involved in that, or who's necessarily involved in some of the
this is something we need to get better at.
kind of like one of these panels where, and you can see that you're trying to fit some humor in it. It's because it's a horror comic, but there's a lot of comedy and a lot of, like, big boisterous kind of characters, especially in this one. And you got Johnny here with the cowboy hat, and I apologize. Who's the female with the dark hair?
Samantha.
Samantha.
Okay. So yeah, and there's a lot of back and forth with some more characters. So where do you decide to put the dialogue sometimes so that you can hit your beats as far as comedy wise, or even
So David turns in the comic book script, and as the author, he wants to see certain things happen. My wife on issue 3, my wife was doing the bubbles and the dialogue. That was extra work for her, which we hadn't intended on. So
guess what, honey?
My wife is a graphic designer, so she
Oh.
does a lot of the stuff for this, and she has her own business at the same time. So, but on this one, Eric stepped in and did all of it, and we would look through it as he would submit it and make little corrections here and there. And some of it does feel crowded, a little busy, and we're working on. We actually added, I think, 2 pages to the comic to spread it out so it wasn't so jam-packed. Like the last page is a reveal. Well, we wanted to have that so it takes up a whole page.
Right.
But also, if you add pages, you add costs. So we're trying to learn.
But also, it's one of those. It becomes down to, how much does this help the story, right? Because not that, okay, I have a short attention span, so when I'm flipping through a comic book, if I just see dialogue, I'm like, okay, let's go, because I know, because I just I was reading, I think it's issue 7 of Deadly Duo. I think that's the last issue of that, and there's a lot to wrap up, but in just the last probably 12 pages, it was just so much dialogue. It was kind of like a little bit of a, like, ooh boy, like, okay, let's go here. So yeah, it's kind of one of those. I think there's that trade off for, like, what helps the story, but also makes it a little bit easier on the reader to to comprehend it, also not get lost in just where you're still engaging with the page or with the panel, And so I think that's always stuff I always find interesting, where it's just like, who makes those decisions ultimately.
It's our first comic, and I was listening to a podcast earlier, and this guy, they have a company called Lesser Known Comics, and he's, I think since 2020 they've been doing it, but man, they've got he's got 30 employees. Like it's a big deal. And he said something like, he knows he's going to make mistakes, and he knows this, so he tries to work with people that will support him. And he said something like, if we work at the speed of Mark, we'll never get anything done. So I need you guys to come in and get it done. And I wish, I don't know, I just talked to Josh the other day about feeling kind of burnout, and we don't have the answer yet, but as we go forward, hopefully we'll find some kind of distribution, because I don't think going and knocking on doors is ultimately the answer. But we'll see. Cool thing, we just got contacted by a Spanish speaking media outlet, and
nice.
They actually put up their first article for us today, but they go through Spain, United States, Central America, South America, and we're probably going to start doing a Spanish-speaking translation.
Fantastic.
Because surprise, Chihuahuas are from Mexico.
What?
Right.
From the Chihuahua region. Imagine that.
So they named
I
the
have customers
region
in
after the
Chihuahua.
dog?
Yes.
They made a book out of that?
They named the dog after our book, and then
Right.
the region after our dog. After again.
Oh, because getting back just the layout wise, because my wife is a voracious reader of novels, normal books, and the first time she went to go open a comic, she almost goes, "How do I read this?" As a comic reader, we know, we'll do this, we'll go back, and the panels kind of go this way, and on occasion, and that's kind of why as far as word bubbles, because sometimes word bubbles put or jump in here to answer here to interact with this panel, and it took my wife, she's kind of like, how do I do this? And I'm like, oh well. And then once you get to a splash page where it's like, well, where does, sometimes you get panels that you got to read this way, and then it jumps down to here, and then jumps down over, it's just like I said, it's just one of those nerdy things where it's like, I just like to know the process, so as, and like you said, you added 2 extra pages just to make everything flow and work properly. So.
Yeah.
Well, I am 110% excited. I like Johnny too. I don't know who this guy is right now.
That's the
So
mayor.
mayor. That's the mayor.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
I don't know.
we're up to 160 some odd %, and I think we obviously, you got fully funded, but I think you'd at least like to get what you guys got on the last one. So
I tried to make a bunch of cool reward tiers that would way extend our goal. So it's just, once again, it's just getting it out there, talking to people, and it runs past the Kickstarter, so we're gonna have the ability to do marketing at Pan Fusion. And like I said, some of those comics or covers are exclusive to the Kickstarter. So
Show the inside panel with your guys' ad on there. Just because.
will do.
Just because it's cool.
It's and I you know what, we had to put thank you to podcasts in there, and magically forgot. So magically delicious. So on the next print run, we will have those in there along with the other thank you. Oh no, it is in there.
Yeah.
Oh well, we didn't print the printed ones. Don't have that yet. So
No, I dude, so stoked, and it's been so fun just not really working with you guys because obviously you guys are doing all the work, but just kind of rooting from afar. And
Yeah, we're
uh,
doing. You
really
guys went out
excited.
for free comic book day and destroyed everyone else. I mean, you're working.
Get you some of that.
I'm having fun building a relationship with you guys. You guys are fun.
Yeah,
You podcasts.
Likewise, my friend.
Yeah, we've been,
Thank you.
I'm never
we've been
gonna
on
be
podcasts that weren't very friendly. Not
What?
that we had a bad project; they just were not friendly people.
I think I was trying to watch one of those earlier. I was like, you guys seem a little bit harsh. So,
Gosh.
but no, that's what we wanted. We wanted to somewhat create the nonsense that we would talk about in the comic book store and kind of try and bring that to a podcast. But uh, it's because my big thing is, and Nate, you know, I had this conversation before. It's really easy to critique things and say things suck, but can you do any of it on your own? Can you make a comic book? And you guys are actually going out and doing the damn thing, and you're you're finding out it's not as easy as it looks. It's not just putting pen to paper. It's not just putting words on a page. It's wow, there's a lot that goes into this, and not just make a comic book, make a comic book that a comic book reader can follow along, and someone who's not a comic book reader can pick up and read. And a horror fan who's not a comic book fan but can pick up a comic book and go, "Oh, I see what they're doing." And it's I give you guys all the credit in the world for like I said, but putting your money where your mouth is and going out and actually doing it instead of just being one of those sitting there and just critiquing and saying everything sucks, but they've never produced anything in their life. So
We're trying.
so and that's why that's try and support creators, try and support just good dudes, and we always thank you guys for coming on. Thank you so much for actually putting us in the comic book. So I never thought that we'd have anything in a comic book, so I'm stoked. I'm stoked about that. I'm stoked that we can help you guys.
Well,
It's kind
we
of a
are.
dream come true in a way. Something you never thought would happen.
Yeah. So, but all right, I think that's a good spot to start wrapping up because I know Nate is feeling great and would love to talk some more, but I gotta get going. But Josh, Nate, thank you guys so for coming out. Congratulations on the Kickstarter. Hopefully you can get you guys some more.
Will you throw up the link real quick?
Oh yeah. If I can find it.
It's right next to the Will Wheaton shutting up.
Oh,
I
nice.
said, give me a reason to play that again. So, so what is that?
bit.ly/Killer Dogs 4 capital K capital D.
And that is issue number 4.
Yeah.
Issue number 4 in Night of the Chihuahuas. Go support the guys, great creators, and also they're friendly. They're not mean. They're not like Chihuahuas. Go check them out on their Instagram. You have Instagram, and are you guys on TikTok too as well?
I got a TikTok account, and I'm gonna start learning how to ticket and talk it.
I'll say the Tiki Tack.
Tick it and talk it.
Talk it out.
So go check them out, and you guys will interact because that's in that the frustrating thing. You're like, hey, I really want to kind of interact with these guys, and then they don't interact. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume that you guys actually respond to messages and stuff like that. So,
Not when I'm not feeling very well. No, indeed. No, I don't like to.
just when I feel good, just when I.
Just
I think most of what I did today was eat like 6 bites of a salad, talk to Josh twice, and had a popsicle. That was like my whole day.
Oh, so that's just
and
a
then
normal
here
diet.
I am.
Yeah. So.
Yes. It's the styrofoam diet we talked about earlier.
Right.
Lose weight, you just eat styrofoam. It works. Don't ask me how. Adam, you look skeptical.
No, I look interested.
Yes,
Styrofoam.
we all.
Is it flavored? Can you put salt on it?
Yes, it's beach season here, so we need to drop a few lbs for this.
Yep.
But all right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll let you guys go. Thanks.
Thank you.
So long, fellas.
Peace.
Kick Josh and Nate off, and Adam and I will let the link keep rolling. So, all right, my friend, it's The Last of Us.
Oh man, don't say that.
Oh
no, I'm just it is a good point to stop. It was an exciting free comic book day. I'm glad you had a good time at Comic-Con. I couldn't be there this year. Maybe next year, possibly October, according to Nate. He might want to have us out there with a table. So we'll talk about that. Hopefully that'll come to fruition. He's not feeling well. I'm losing consciousness, and you've got places to be.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and please go check out Night of the Chihuahuas on Kickstarter. That is for issue number 4 out of 5. So they're almost there. Go help them out. Go support them if you can. I got my order in. I got one of the blank covers, so I think just might get a John cover. But other than that, Adam, if you want to see what we're talking about or what we just find interesting, you can go check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Yep. And if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. It helps a lot. And also, we are on. See, I don't have a list of things, so I have to remember off memory. So we are on Spotify.
We are Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your fine podcasts, Amazon as well.
So go check us out, guys. Any last words, Adam?
Good night, Planet Houston.
Good night, America.